Hello, everyone. This is the lecture on Nope, which is one of the options for Essay 2 as a topic to write about. So, the object of Essay 2, of course, is to determine what the message of the movie is and argue how it sends that message as part of a rhetorical analysis. And you have to analyze at least one symbol in the film along the way. So hopefully this lecture gives you an idea of what Nope's message is, and it'll maybe give you an idea of what symbols you can look at. So, as an introduction to Nope, it is the third film by Jordan Peele. It comes after Get Out in 2017 and Us in 2019. And this movie is very different from those previous two movies by Jordan Peele because it is grander in scale and it's more sci-fi than horror, taking on a plot of an extraterrestrial coming to Earth, whereas Get Out and Us pretty neatly fit into the horror genre. It isn't really involved with issues of race and class like the previous movies were. Get Out was about race, Us was about class, and this isn't about either, which really surprised me. So he really went in a whole new direction, and we're going to talk about what he means to communicate through this movie. So the first step is to think about the genre of the movie, because as we've talked about in the past, genre really influences or can influence the message of a text. So it is horror, kind of, and it does have some scary scenes. And with horror movies, they use our fears, obviously, in order to scare us. And there are 5 basic fears that humans generally all have: fear of extinction or death, fear of mutilation or getting injured or hurt, fear of the loss of autonomy or losing control of yourself, fear of separation from people you care about, just fear of being alone, and then fear of ego death, which is fear of losing your sense of who you are, your identity, etc. So with Nope, we do see some of these fears used in the movie. Probably the biggest one is mutilation, and I'm thinking of that scene where Jean Jacket sucks up Jupe's audience and sprays them out as a torrent of blood on the Haywood house. I think that definitely is appealing to our fear of mutilation to scare us, and also appealing to pathos, one of the rhetorical appeals. I think Jordan Peele really wants us to consider something when he shows Jean Jacket eating those people, because perhaps they weren't treating Jean Jacket correctly. And I think that is the core of what this whole movie is about: respect for nature. So I think the biggest one is mutilation. If not the only one that it uses to scare us. It is sci-fi more than horror, I would say, because it is about aliens. It's very much a science fiction movie, although it's a different sort of science fiction movie, because the UFO is an alien itself, and this isn't an intelligent, quote-unquote, alien. This isn't an alien from an advanced race. This isn't a humanoid alien. This is a giant sky creature who acts like a territorial animal. So it really is different from other sci-fi movies before it in service of the message it's trying to send. Speaking of movies that came before it and considering its citational context or its place among other movies, it is very Spielbergian. If in what I mean by that is it very much is in the vein of things directed by Steven Spielberg, and it's also a Universal movie. Universal is known for monster movies, Even and it also is known for having produced or released Steven Spielberg movies like Jaws and Jurassic Park. So with something like Jaws, like with Nope, it involves people hunting an animal. In Jaws, the shark. In Nope, Jean Jacket. But the shark in Jaws really is made into a monster, right? And he's not very sympathetic. Well, he's not sympathetic at all. The whole goal of the movie is to kill him, and once he's killed, I'm kind of glad that those two guys got out alive. I can't really say the same with Nope after they kill Jean Jacket. So in Jaws, the shark is a total monster. He doesn't really act like an animal. He acts like some sort of fictional beast. And that is very different from what we see in Nope, even though it's sort of still going for that grand scale, quote-unquote monster sort of movie. In Jurassic Park, the dinosaurs, even though they were real animals, because sometimes we can forget that, they act kind of monstrous. It's still sort of a monster movie. And of course, we're all glad when they escape the island. But in that case, at least the dinosaurs get to live too. Or at least the good ones, because some of them aren't so good. As opposed to Jean Jacket, who isn't really portrayed as a monster at all, just an animal who doesn't need to be exploited or messed with, because only when he's exploited, kind of sort of like the Jurassic Park dinosaurs, then that's when he gets violent. In terms of Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Poltergeist, we have technology being interfered with, which happens in both those movies and also in Nope. So technology is interrupted by some sort of supernatural or alien being. In Close Encounters, they make friends with the aliens. After the aliens kidnap everyone, they give them back, and they're like, oh, humans aren't so bad after all. So that's very different from Nope, where I think, even to the end, conflict still exists between Jean Jacket and the Haywoods et al., and they end up killing, Jean Jacket. And with Poltergeist, it is kind of like with Jean Jacket, because we have the girl, Carol Ann, with the haunted TV, and of course Jean Jacket really knocks out the TVs and makes all the technology appear haunted and wild. And even Jean Jacket's giant mouth sort of recalls the open closet sucking items in Poltergeist. But like I've been saying, Jean Jacket really isn't a monster, whereas these films have monsters and aliens who are humanoid and who end up being nice. Jean Jacket is a whole different thing. He's an alien who is not humanoid, and it's not really that he's good or bad or a monster, it's just that he's an animal with instincts, right? So the lesson in Nope, I would say, is that we need to learn to respect these animals. And I think that's communicated through various symbols. For example, the sky dancers that they use to try and lure and control Jean Jacket so they can get a picture of him. I think they represent man's control over man's control over nature using technology. And we should note that they are very colorful. And if you'll notice, every single artificial object in the film is colorful. Like the horse decoy, which is sort of an imitation of nature. It has those colorful flags. So, and there's more examples that we'll get to later. But yeah, the sky dancers represent man trying to control nature with technology. The horse decoy I would say it represents man mocking technology. Man mocking nature by using the horse to train the other horses and control nature. So those two symbols are pretty clear. They represent how man does not respect nature. In terms of the well, it really has to do with the theme of spectacle in the movie, because the movie is at its core all about how we exploit our surroundings, nature in specific, in order to gain spectacle, because we're obsessed with spectacle, which makes sense considering our current time when everyone has a smartphone and we film things every day. Like I filmed a cat I saw the other day, just because I thought it would be funny to film him. So we are obsessed, we're all guilty of that, and the film is really trying to show us that there's danger in hurting nature to create spectacle, to gain profit or attention, etc. They look straight into the well, and so that itself is gazing at something as if it is a spectacle. And the well also is how they get the picture of Jean Jacket at the end. So I think the well is the ultimate symbol of spectacle, and why it can be destructive, because of course, after they get the picture of Jean Jacket, Jean Jacket dies. Then there's the shoe. The shoe is really weird and complicated. I think the shoe represents a bad miracle, because OJ asks Emerald, is there a word for a bad miracle? And she says, nope, because there really isn't. Sometimes misfortunes that come out of nowhere just happen to us, like with his father's death, when Jean Jacket emptied the items onto him and ended up killing him. We could say that's as a punishment, maybe, because he was a horse trainer and he was exploiting animals. But, it also was random, because sometimes there are random bad things that happen. There are bad miracles, and they can be brought about by our own hubris, or it could seem like they are divine retribution for when we do wrong. In the case of this movie, wrongness is associated with exploiting animals, and of course, the shoe is standing upright as a bad miracle, something mysterious that doesn't make sense, and it's standing upright after Gordy's rampage. So bad miracles seem to come about because we do bad as humans. It seems sort of like some sort of divine punishment for how we treat animals like Gordy and Jean Jacket. And that really now leads me to the next place. So speaking of bad miracles or seeming punishments from God or some sort of divine retribution, let's talk about the biblical connections to the movie and how that helps its message. So of course the movie opens with this quote from the book of Nahum: I will cast abominable filth at you, make you vile, and make you a spectacle. So in context, in the Bible, this is God speaking to the wicked city of Nineveh and how he's going to destroy it and make a spectacle of it. And when I think of the city of Nineveh in terms of Nope, I think of Jupiter's Claim, the theme park. It's surrounded by desert, kind of like the biblical Nineveh. It also has these people in it who seem to be idol worshippers, right? Like Jupe's audience, they seem to worship the aliens that Jupe calls the viewers, and they're all in that arena or that stadium, amphitheater, sort of doing a kind of worship. They instantly take out their cell phones in reverence to whatever they're going to see, and they pay for it. They pay for that idol worship, don't they? Because they get sucked up and eaten by Jean Jacket. And with them getting eaten by Jean Jacket, I can't help but recall the story of Jonah and the great fish, because Jonah is eaten sort of as a divine punishment for disobeying God, and in the same way, the people at Jupiter's claim, they get eaten by a great fish in the sky, if you will, because of their transgression. And their transgression is making a spectacle out of Jean Jacket and exploiting Jean Jacket. And Jupe, definitely, he exploits Jean Jacket for profit. He commodifies Jean Jacket. He makes alien merch. He dresses up his kids as aliens. Jupe is definitely guilty for exploiting nature for his own selfish benefit, which the film is really speaking out against. So, yes, in the end, the spectators become a spectacle themselves when they're eaten up and showered as blood everywhere, which is a really horrible, filthy spectacle. Really vile, we might even say. Or definitely say, I think it's very vile. Alright, so we have those biblical connections that help the film send its message. And let's talk now about how the film in general treats nature. Like I talked about before, the natural in the film, or the artificial in the film, is denoted by bright colors. Like, for example, the yellow sweater on Gordy, which is very unnatural. He shouldn't be wearing that, right? And of course, the flags on the decoy horse. Even something like the slushies in At Jupiter's Claim, very colorful. So anything that is artificial in the film is colorful, whereas all the animals are not colorful at all. All of the animals have plain muted colors. Like the horses, all of their hair is black, gray, white, brown. Of course, Gordy's fur is brown. Jean Jacket's skin is gray. So all of the animals have muted colors, even like the animals on Antler's monitor, where he's editing that footage to make a spectacle, right, out of animals. The animals in the footage are in black and white, so everything artificial is colorful in the movie, and everything natural is not colorful. So it's really making a clear, distinct line between the natural and the artificial. And we can see how the artificial really upsets the natural in the movie when the two come together. Jean Jacket, when he eats that fake horse, it doesn't agree with him. He spits out everything artificial and consumes everything organic. So he is simply incompatible with the artificial, and that's why he disrupts electricity, etc. So yeah, it's clear that the artificial can hurt nature, the film says. Even obviously also our electronic devices, like even our phones, making spectacles of animals by capturing them in a video. So the artificial is really bad for the natural, obviously, and the film shows that through its use of color. And going along with the spectacle theme, which is basically the main idea of the film, and we can recognize that because we talked about the main point of a text is at the beginning, and we have the quote from Nahum at the beginning, or mentioned throughout, and the word spectacle comes up several times. The main plot is that the protagonists are obsessed with capturing Jean Jacket on film so they may have fame and fortune, right? And a better life. And the fact that they nicknamed the alien Jean Jacket at all, that sort of shows that they want to control him, because if you remember, Emerald was going to have a horse before their dad had to use it for some production, she was going to own that horse. It was going to be her own horse. So they're trying to own Jean Jacket and control him, right? Even though he's a wild animal. So I want to talk about with this slide how their efforts are all, until the end of the movie, of course, their efforts are disrupted by none other than a praying mantis, which is an animal. And I think it's funny that the praying mantis, with its big eyes and the shape of its head, happens to look like what we think of when we think of aliens, right? And it helps protect Jean Jacket from being made into a spectacle. So that's nature looking out for nature, right? Because the praying mantis blocks the camera. And that leads me now to a scene I really want to talk about that ties, I think, all of the themes of the movie together. So we have that scene at the fast food place where they're trying to talk about how they're going to, where they're talking about Jean Jacket's predilections and how they're going to attempt to wrangle him, as it were, so they can get that Oprah shot that they call it. And they're sitting, as you can see, in a very garish, colorful restaurant, and it happens to be a fish place, which could tie back to the notion of Jean Jacket as a great fish, like the great fish from the Bible who eats all the people, like the great fish ate Jonah. So they're not really respecting nature by eating fish, for one thing. And they're in this artificial, colorful restaurant. And their whole scheme is really disrespectful to nature as well, with how they're trying to use Jean Jacket for their own gain. I did also want to note that, let me pull it up really quick. We have Emerald wearing this shirt, the Jesus Lizard. Now, I know it's a band, but I think that also sort of shows just how powerful and God-like nature is. Jesus, lizard. A lizard is an animal. Jesus, of course, in Christian thought, is God. So I think that really helps underscore just how nature is something powerful, almighty, mysterious, and not to be messed with. And notice she's standing in front of this building, which is a church. And it's a church, it's a Hispanic church, Iglesia de Jesucristo. And maybe this is a giant stretch, but it's a Jordan Peele movie, and his symbolism is often very obscure and hard to pick apart. But I would say, Spanish words, unfamiliar words, also ties into the whole idea of the Haywoods and Angel are messing with something they don't understand. Like, they wouldn't understand this Spanish on this church. It doesn't even look like a church. You wouldn't know unless you knew Spanish. And the Jesus Lizard really showing how nature is mysterious and powerful like God. It really seems like it's trying to say that they don't know what they're messing with, to put it simply. They can't read, they can't interpret these words on this church. They don't understand that Jean Jacket is a force to be reckoned with, that they can't control like a god. They're really getting into territory that is unfamiliar, that they shouldn't be getting into. Or at least that's what I took out of that scene. And it definitely is probably one of the most important, I would say, if not the most important theme to the movie's message. And that brings us to the ending. Me personally, I did not sympathize with the Haywoods. I mean, they're likable, you know. OJ and Emerald aren't bad people, or at least it wouldn't seem that way. But I sort of felt sorry for Jean Jacket, and I wonder if Peele wanted his audience to feel sorry for him too. Because the movie ends with them getting the picture. The movie ends with the artificial winning. It ends with humans and the technological world they've built winning. It ends with nature losing. And I wonder if Peele means for us to come away from that feeling guilty. Well, maybe not guilty, but feeling like we should reconsider our relationship to nature and how we treat it and how we use it. And at the end of the day, we have to ask, are the Haywoods and Angel and Antlers, are they any different from Jupe at his theme park commodifying aliens for his own gain? It is sort of complicated because, you know, OJ cares about animals. We can really tell he cares about animals, especially with how he interacts with the horses. And he doesn't even own a smartphone, so we would think, be a person who doesn't make spectacles out of animals or doesn't obsess over filming his surroundings. And yet, there's still that scene there's still this scene in the stable where Jupe's kids are playing the prank, and what does he do? He takes out his phone. It's a flip phone, but he's still, at the end of the day, human, and it's human nature to be obsessed with spectacle, isn't it? So even someone like OJ, who cares about animals, even he isn't immune to falling into human nature of wanting to exploit and control the natural world around him. So, yeah. Our protagonists, they aren't exactly sympathetic. We know that Jupe is bad considering how he, you know, exploits Jean Jacket, exploits aliens, etc., and also doesn't understand nature at all. He anthropomorphizes Gordy. When he does that fist bump with Gordy, he thinks Gordy is my friend. Gordy is like a person. Gordy is not a wild animal. And he also says, I think the aliens trust me. He even calls them the viewers, as if he thinks they're spectators, obsessed with spectacle, just like humans are. So Jupe doesn't understand nature, he takes advantage of nature, and he pays for it. OJ seems to understand nature, but he still isn't perfect because he's obsessed with spectacle, to a degree at least. And he also participates in the whole plan to get the Oprah shot of Jean Jacket. Angel does try to justify what they're doing by saying they could save lives, but he's assuming that Jean Jacket is dangerous, but we know that Jean Jacket isn't necessarily dangerous. He's only dangerous when he's provoked, right? So at the end of the day, there are no good guys here, or at least no perfect good guys. And I think that really helps. And we don't really have a happy ending, especially with nature losing, artifice and technology winning, and people suffering. Jupe gets killed because of all of this, and so does Jean Jacket. So it's not a happy ending at all. And there's no good guys. It's not your conventional story in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, in the end, it's a story with no good guys, and it's a story with a pretty bleak ending if you think about it. And that leads me to the final point of discussion. We got to talk about the title because the title is pretty interesting. It's certainly not the first thing you'd think of if you were making this movie and you wanted to name it something. So, Nope is said at various points in the movie. Emerald replies Nope when OJ asks if there's a word for a bad miracle. And I think that sort of ties into what I was talking about before with the mystery of nature. It's really unpredictable and mysterious and is not something we can control even if we want to. Sometimes a bad miracle just naturally will happen. Emerald says, nope, it's too much when it seems like filming Jean Jacket is going to be a much harder task than they thought. So she recognizes we shouldn't be messing with this. We shouldn't be messing with nature. We shouldn't be messing with something from nature we simply don't understand. But of course they press on. An actress in Gordy's home says nope when talking about Gordy's birthday present. She says something along the lines of, you'd think he'd be able to get a decent birthday present. Nope. And the birthday present they give Gordy isn't decent at all because it's colorful balloons. And remember, colorful equals artificial in the movie. And they pop, and that sets Gordy off. Because nope, they should not have been putting him on a TV show. Gordy's home is not really Gordy's home. And I think that's really exemplified by the fact that they keep all the plants backstage, right? Because his real home is the jungle, and they're keeping him away from that. And of course OJ says nope when he is in the truck at night and he looks up and he sees Jean Jacket hovering above. And I think that really, I think that one moment really encapsulates why it's called Nope, at least why I think it's called Nope given what it's all about. We might say nope when we see things in nature that are scary. When we see a wild animal, like this snake in this meme is a nope rope. So yeah, people say nope when they see a spider. People say nope when they see a snake. And I think they're right to say nope in that they shouldn't mess with those animals, right? Especially considering they don't understand those animals. So I think that's why it's called Nope, because we should say nope to exploiting and hurting animals, because it only hurts us in the end. And there's also the theory that it's an acronym for not of planet Earth, which I could buy, because Jean Jacket isn't of planet Earth. And when we see him, we say nope, because we don't understand him. And that brings me to the message. So what the heck was this movie about? In order to understand what this movie was about and what its message is and what it's doing rhetorically, what it wants us to think, feel, or do, I'm going to bring in this quote from Moby Dick. Okay, so in this passage, Starbuck, the first mate of the Pequod, no relation to the coffee company, although the coffee company is named after the character. Fast fun fact. But first mate Starbuck on the Pequod on Captain Ahab's ship says, "Vengeance on a dumb brute," cried Starbuck, "that simply smote thee from blindest instinct. Madness, to be enraged with a dumb thing, Captain Ahab, seems blasphemous." So here Starbuck is telling Captain Ahab, who's lost his leg to the white whale, that's just an animal. You don't need to be upset or want to take revenge because he just did that out of instinct, protecting himself. It's an animal, Ahab. And it might be blasphemous to to want revenge, because that's just one of those bad miracles. That's just something that happened because of God, you know? And you're questioning God's plan, and that's blasphemy. But Captain Ahab doesn't like that. Captain Ahab says, "Hark ye yet again, the little lower layer. All visible objects, man, are but as pasteboard masks. But in each event, in the living act, the undoubted deed, there some unknown but still reasoning thing puts forth the moldings of its features from behind the unreasoning mask. If man will strike, strike through the mask. How can the prisoner reach outside except by thrusting through the wall? To me, the white whale is that wall shoved near to me. Sometimes I think there's naught beyond, but 'tis enough. He tasks me, he heaps me. I see in him outrageous strength, with an inscrutable malice sinewing it. That inscrutable thing is chiefly what I hate, and be the white whale agent, or be the white whale principal, I will wreak that hate upon him. Talk not to me of blasphemy, man. I'd strike the sun if it insulted me." In short, Captain Ahab can't accept bad miracles. All he wants is to understand the world around him, understand God, understand natural forces like the sun, understand and be able to control the white whale, who sort of is the symbol and the embodiment of all in the natural world that Captain Ahab doesn't understand and can't control. So I think that nicely embodies what Nope is all about. Peele wants us to be aware of our place in the natural world, both on this planet and beyond, and I think he really flips the sci-fi genre on its head by having the alien be an animal, right? Which is not how we often think of aliens. But it is true that, you know, we have our place in this universe, and we don't really understand what all could be out there. And we shouldn't try to control it, or mess with it, or exploit it for our own gain, or even try to understand it, because we might never be able to understand it. But rather, we should just accept that sometimes there are bad miracles, lest we go toward our own destruction and destroy the world around us, the natural world around us, in the process. Speaking specifically of the theme of spectacle, Peele, in this day and age when we film everything nearly on a daily basis with our smart devices, he might be saying we should re-examine our obsession with spectacle, because we don't realize the damage it could be doing. Because, you know, people might put something on TikTok, check out this pufferfish that I just pulled out of the ocean, and you're hurting that animal because you want clout on, and you want to be an influencer. That's just one example, but I really think he is pointing out just how obsessed we've become, especially in the digital age, with spectacle. But that said, Nope itself is a spectacle. It's a spectacle movie. It's impressive. It was filmed on IMAX cameras. It's great to look at, and we just can't look away, can we? I certainly was impressed by it. I certainly wanted to look at Jean Jacket. He was freaking awesome. So I have to ask, as the final question to leave y'all with, does that undermine the message, or does it enhance it? And I would say it enhances it, because I think Peele knows exactly what he's doing. I think he's using meta commentary to tell us, hey, now that you've seen this, maybe you should turn it off. You know, maybe enjoy some time away from spectacle like this, and really just live in the moment, right? And don't try to control or understand everything out there, because who knows what is out there. Just live in the moment, do good for others, don't be selfish, respect nature, etc., etc. Alright, well, that certainly gives you a lot to think about. Hopefully, this helped you get some ideas. This honestly is one of the most complex, challenging texts that I've ever encountered. But I think its message is pretty clear, and I think y'all should be able to identify it and write about it and how it sends that message. So hopefully this gave you some good ideas. So let's push forward on SA2, and I'll see y'all next time. Thank you guys.